Well, it's just true. I've never met anyone who's not afraid or hasn't been afraid of something. It's Mayhem Mindset Monday, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between fear and danger. I remember many years ago, as I began to define myself and go through the process that we call Mayhem Mindset today. When I was going through this process in my own life, my last daughter, my youngest daughter, had gone off to college, and I sold everything that I owned, and I moved into a camper. Sold my home, sold my business, and I moved into a camper. And for just about a year, I did a ton of soul searching and reorganizing and the process that we call Mayhem Mindset, and the challenges that you face to define yourself inside the Mayhem Mindset game or process. I went through each one of those individually in my own life. And so one of the things that I needed to address was that I was afraid of something. And the truth is, I really didn't know what it was that I was afraid of. And so as I began to kind of put this idea of what am I afraid of in the front of my mind, and then nailed down the things in my life that I was afraid of, and because I needed to deal with them. I couldn't come forward. I was paralyzed in many ways by the fear in my life. Now for me, I discovered that really the thing that was bothering me, I'm not talking about, when I'm talking about fear, I'm not talking about something like something like I'm afraid of a snake, or I'm afraid that I need to wear a helmet when I ride my bike in case I wreck. I was talking about a heart issue that really kept me from being everything that I needed to be, that kept me from stepping out and walking out my talents and really becoming all that I had been designed to be as a person. I discovered that my fear was the fear of looking bad, and that in many ways, this idea that I'm not good enough, or that I look bad, or I'm afraid of sounding stupid, or like getting on videos here and talking in front of a camera, that my crooked teeth are going to be something that people are going to look at and make fun of me. And I had to work at deciding how to deal with the fear of looking bad in my life, so that it didn't continue to be in my present and in my future. So as I worked through that process, I began to realize that there was a difference between fear and danger. What I realized was that fear lived in the future. Fear is not something that lives in the present. Danger is in the present, but fear was an imagination about something that hadn't even materialized yet, about something that hadn't even happened, something that I couldn't even do anything about. One of the statistics that I heard was that only 8% of what we're afraid of actually ever come true. It's actually anything we have to deal with. So this idea of being able to capture those thoughts and not allow those fears to stop me today and block my future. I began to kind of look at my past, like I couldn't be lost in so much regret about my past that it affected my present. I couldn't be lost in fear about the future that it affected my present, and I couldn't come forward. The idea that danger was real. Danger was something that we should pay attention to. If we were to use example of what we're dealing with right now with the virus, being paralyzed with fear and not being able to move and get done the things that are purposeful that you need to get done because you're afraid of what might happen is very different than taking precautions because of the danger that we're facing. We should all be paying attention to the danger of the virus. We should all be doing the things that we know that are going to keep us and our family safe, but we can't be at home trapped because of fear. What I realized was that that I needed to replace the fear in my life with a value to aim at. And that's what mindset's all about. What we want to do is organize our identity so we have a real clear understanding of who we are, and then organize our core values so that we've defined those values and we know specifically who we are and what we're living for. So it really becomes a foundation, the foundation of who we are and what we're doing. and that when I began to feel afraid, I wanted to make sure it wasn't danger and it wasn't something I should be paying attention to. And if it was just fear and not danger, an imagination, then I wanted to aim at the positive value in my life. For example, aim at hope. Hope became an anchor value in my life, and I defined the word hope as the spring that moves me forward. And so I would immediately, when I felt afraid, do what a hopeful person would do something that a hopeful person would do, and put it into action, as opposed to being paralyzed with fear. I want you to think about this. Think about this in your mind's eye. I want you to see the word fear, F-E-A-R. Look at it that way. And this was a cool acronym that I kept in my mind as I began to deal with this. False evidence appearing real. Fear. It's what you're seeing, an imagination. Is it something that's causing you to be paralyzed, or is it actually danger in your life? Danger is real. We got to deal with danger and make sure that you're paying attention to that and you're clear-minded, and we're protecting the people around us and those people who are trusting us from danger. But if it's fear that's paralyzing you, you've got to replace that fear. You got to identify it and then replace it with a core value. Right now, if you go to mayhemmindset.com, we are actually discounting the course over the next it's the next couple of weeks here. We're giving everybody a 37% discount, along with some of the other things that we're doing at Mayhem. But I'd like to get as many of you involved in the course while there's some time, and we're trying to make it cost effective. At this point right now, people are at home and they have an opportunity to be able to do some of this work that they wouldn't normally get to do. So I'm challenging you right now. Slow down, take some time, don't be paralyzed by the fear, pay attention to the danger, and keep coming forward.